All right, you ready to dive into some biotech earnings calls?
Always exciting.
Today we're going to be looking at Maravai Life Sciences,
Oh, interesting.
their Q3 report. And I got to say, this one's got some drama.
Oh, yeah.
Their stock took a 35% nosedive after the call.
Wow.
So we're going to unpack why Wall Street hit the panic button
Okay.
and what it all means for you, the investor.
Well, and what makes this so interesting is Maravai, they're not just, any biotech company.
Right.
They're major players in mRNA and gene editing.
Oh, yeah?
And those are, the therapies of the future, really cutting edge stuff, cancer, genetic diseases.
Yeah, so a 35% drop, I mean,
That'll get your attention.
yeah, it's enough to make anyone sweat a little bit.
For sure.
So let's just start with the basics, okay?
Yeah.
Maravai, they brought in $65 million in revenue for Q3.
Okay.
That might sound okay on the surface,
Yeah.
but they missed their projections.
Oh.
And missing your targets in the stock market, that's like, showing up late to prom.
Not a good look.
Not a good look at all.
No.
And I think that's why we saw that reaction, right?
Yeah. I mean, Wall Street, it's all about expectations, right?
Right.
So when a company misses, investors start to worry.
They get nervous.
Yeah, is the growth story over?
Right. Is this thing going to keep going?
Exactly. And then that uncertainty, that can trigger a sell-off.
Makes sense, yeah. Okay, so let's break down this revenue miss a little bit more.
Okay.
Their nucleic acid production segment, NAP,
Yeah.
brought in $50 million. Now,
All right.
that's where all the mRNA technology is, right?
That's right. Yeah. NAP is like the heart of their mRNA business.
Okay.
It's a huge chunk of their revenue, like 77%.
Wow.
So when NAP struggles, the whole company feels it.
Got it. And then you got the biologic safety testing segment, BST.
Right.
They pulled in $15 million.
Yeah.
Now, here's the real red flag.
What's that?
Both segments underperformed.
Ooh. Interesting.
It wasn't just one weak link,
Yeah.
It was a broader trend across the whole business.
And that makes investors nervous.
And that's what spooked those investors.
Makes sense.
Now, to add insult to injury,
Yeah.
they also had this thing. It's called a non-cash goodwill impairment charge of $154 million.
Oh.
Now, can you translate that for me?
Yeah. So imagine like buying a house, right?
Okay.
And you pay more than it's worth because you think the neighborhood's going to improve.
Right. You see the potential.
Exactly. But then the neighborhood, it doesn't get any better. That difference between what you paid and what it's actually worth.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a goodwill impairment charge.
Okay.
So in Maravai's case, they're saying that one of their business units, TriLink, it's not performing as well as they'd hoped.
I see. So they kind of overpaid, or maybe the future's not as bright as they thought.
Yeah, it's like admitting they misjudged things a bit.
Okay, so time to put on our detective hats here.
Let's do it.
Let's dig into the reasons Maravai gave for this kind of disappointing quarter. They pointed to a few things,
Yeah.
starting with customer-requested program timing shifts.
All right.
Break that down for me.
It's not as complicated as it sounds.
Okay.
It's like you're baking a cake, right, for a big party.
Yeah.
You're expecting to finish it today,
Right.
but then the party gets pushed to next week.
Okay.
You still have to bake the cake, but you don't get paid until later.
Right. Okay.
That's kind of what happened with Maravai.
So a big client delayed a project, pushing the revenue into the next quarter.
Exactly. So it's not that the business is gone. It's just a timing thing.
Okay, so it's a timing issue.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. But I mean, these delays, could they be a sign of something bigger?
They could be. Yeah. I mean, it could mean the client's hesitant. Maybe they have funding problems or their research priorities have changed.
So it adds a little uncertainty.
Yeah, it adds a layer of uncertainty to their projections.
Okay. Reason number 2 for the revenue miss. Muted demand for their research and discovery products.
Yep.
So are scientists suddenly losing interest in Maravai's stuff?
I mean, not necessarily. It could just be a slowdown in early stage drug development.
Across the board.
Yeah, across the whole industry.
So it's like the pipeline's getting a little clogged.
Yeah, think of it that way. Fewer new projects starting up means less demand for the tools and services Maravai provides.
Okay, so it might not be a Maravai specific problem.
Right. It might be a broader biotech trend.
Okay, and finally, Maravai mentioned this. Persistent softness in the global biologics market,
Right.
impacting their BST segment. Now, this sounds like something that could affect way more than just Maravai.
Absolutely. The biologics market is huge. It's
Yeah.
a major part of the pharmaceutical industry.
So if it weakens, it's like a sign of bigger problems.
Yeah, it often means there are bigger economic forces at play. Things like healthcare budgets, regulations, even like geopolitical stuff.
Okay, so for our listeners who maybe aren't biotech experts,
Sure.
what does this softness actually mean? Like, how could it affect their lives?
Well, it could mean fewer new biologic drugs being developed, you know.
Yeah.
These are drugs that treat everything from cancer to autoimmune disorders.
Right, so it could impact the availability of new treatments.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And it could even affect the pricing of existing ones.
Okay, things are getting a little gloomy here. So
Yeah.
let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and look at some of the more positive things that Maravai highlighted during the call.
All right.
They talked quite a bit about the mRNA market,
Yeah,
how it's evolving beyond just COVID-19,
that's exciting.
which I think is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
They even showed a chart
Oh, cool.
breaking down mRNA clinical trial starts.
Okay.
And what's interesting is while COVID-related trials have been declining,
Yeah.
trials for other mRNA applications are steadily increasing.
That's huge.
This is huge for Maravai's long-term prospects.
Right, because the success of the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines,
Yeah.
that really validated the technology,
I
right?
put it on the map.
Exactly. Now researchers are exploring its potential for all sorts of diseases.
Oh, wow.
Cancer therapies, personalized vaccines, even treatments for genetic disorders. I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
And Maravai, they're in a prime position to benefit from all of this, right?
They are. They've been investing a lot in expanding their mRNA capabilities.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they even built a brand new facility called Flanders 2,
Wow.
specifically designed for large-scale production of mRNA therapies.
Wow. So they're betting big on mRNA.
They are, and this diversification of the market is a really good sign for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about COVID anymore. It's
Exactly.
about the future of medicine.
That's right.
Speaking of Flanders, too, they hit a big milestone there.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
They announced that they've started their first customer bill
At Flanders 2.
at Flanders 2.
That's great.
So that means the facility is officially up and running, producing products, generating revenue.
That's a big
It is. It's a big step towards realizing the full potential of that investment.
for sure.
But, and I know there's always a but,
There's always a but.
they did mention some delays with projects at Flanders 2.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What is
They have a client who pushed their program from Q4 2024 to early 2025,
Oh, wow.
and they cited delays in their own clinical trials.
Okay, so even with this new facility,
Yeah.
they're still dealing with those timing issues.
Yeah. It seems like it's one step forward, two steps back, sometimes in biotech.
Sometimes, yeah. It can be frustrating.
It can be. But let's stay positive here.
Okay.
What about that guide RNA mediated gene editing market they mentioned?
Oh, yeah, that's another area where Maravai is really well positioned.
Sure.
They said this market is booming, like 75% growth year to date.
Wow.
And what's interesting is that more and more developers are choosing mRNA
Yeah.
as the delivery vehicle for CRISPR-Cas gene editing systems.
CRISPR, that's the revolutionary gene editing technology everyone's talking about.
Exactly.
So Maravai's expertise in mRNA production, that gives them a real advantage in this market.
Yeah, they're not just providing the raw materials for gene editing.
Right.
They're developing the tools and services needed to deliver those materials effectively.
Okay.
So they're becoming like a one-stop shop for these companies working on gene therapies.
All right. Now I'm feeling a little more optimistic.
Huh.
It seems like they're playing a really important role in some groundbreaking areas of medicine.
They are.
But let's talk about what they're doing to address these challenges, those immediate challenges.
Sure.
Get back on track for growth.
Yeah.
They highlighted innovation.
Okay.
They've launched 21 new products this year alone.
Wow, 21. That's impressive.
It's a lot.
It is.
Shows they're not just sitting still.
They're hustling.
They're constantly evolving
Yeah.
to stay ahead of the curve and meet their clients' needs.
And out of those 21, were there any standouts?
Yeah, definitely. They launched something called CleanScribe RNA polymerase. Now, it might sound complicated,
A little bit.
but it's a game changer for mRNA production.
Oh, how so?
This new enzyme is designed to reduce the formation of double-stranded RNA during manufacturing.
Double-stranded RNA, why is that important?
Well, double-stranded RNA can trigger unwanted immune responses.
Oh, I see.
which can make the mRNA therapy less effective.
Makes sense.
So CleanScribe helps to create a smoother mRNA therapy.
Okay.
It's less likely to cause those unwanted side effects.
So it's like a safety and efficacy booster.
Yeah, exactly. It makes the therapies more potent
Yeah.
and less likely to cause problems,
That's great.
which is a win for Maravai and, of course, the patients.
Of course.
So besides launching new products, what else are they doing to stay ahead in this biotech world?
Well, they're forming partnerships with academic institutions,
Oh, interesting.
which is a smart move.
Yeah.
It gives them access to the latest research,
Okay.
helps them build relationships with future leaders in the field,
Yeah.
and it strengthens their reputation as an innovator.
So they're tapping into that collective brain power,
They are.
some of the brightest minds in science.
Exactly.
All right, now all this innovation talk is making me feel like I should be wearing a lab coat.
I know, right?
But seriously, it sounds like Maravai is making the right moves
They are.
to solidify their position in these
Yeah.
markets,
Absolutely.
these rapidly evolving markets.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away,
Right.
let's hear what they had to say about their financial outlook
Okay.
for the rest of the year and beyond. What kind of guidance did they give?
So they did lower their revenue guidance for 2024
Oh,
to between $255 million and $265 million. That's a 5% reduction from their previous guidance.
another cut to guidance. I mean,
Yeah, it's not ideal.
that's got sting for those investors who are already feeling the pain of that stock drop.
Yeah, definitely not the news they were hoping for.
No.
Huh.
So what's driving this revised guidance?
Well, they said those large clean cap orders.
Right.
They haven't been coming in as fast as they expected. Oh.
Which is putting pressure on their NAP segment.
Okay.
And then that, persistent softness in the global biologics market.
Right, yeah.
That's still affecting their BST segment.
Okay, so a lot of external factors
Yeah, definitely some headwinds.
working against them, making it tough to hit those targets.
It's a challenging environment right now.
But they did mention some bright spots, right?
They did.
They have a strong balance sheet,
Oh, okay.
a manageable debt position,
That's good.
so it gives them some breathing room
Yeah, some financial
to
flexibility.
navigate this current market turbulence.
For
So at least there's that.
Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, they're not going bankrupt or anything drastic like that.
No, they're on solid ground.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. What else did they say about their financial outlook?
Well, they're holding off on giving guidance for 2025 until later,
Okay.
which makes sense given all the uncertainty in the market.
Yeah, it's a lot of unknowns right now.
So they're taking a wait-and-see approach.
Exactly. They want to see how things play out over the next few months before making any firm predictions.
Makes sense. Better to be cautious
Definitely.
than to overpromise and underdeliver, especially in this kind of market.
Absolutely. Managing expectations is crucial.
Yeah. Okay, we've covered a lot here.
We have
We dissected the good, the bad, and the uncertain.
a mixed bag.
Yeah, a real mixed bag with Maravai's Q3 report.
For sure.
So for the average investor out there who's listening and saying, should I buy, sell, or hold this stock?
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
It is. What do you think?
Well, it all comes down to your individual goals and risk tolerance.
Okay,
But I can give you a framework for thinking about it.
let's hear it.
On the one hand, there are definitely some concerns. You got missed revenue targets, lowered guidance,
Right.
and those persistent headwinds in the market. So there's reason to be cautious.
So not exactly a screaming buy at this point?
It depends on your time frame, right? If you're looking for a quick return, probably not the best bet.
Right.
But if you're a long-term investor and you believe in mRNA and gene editing,
Yeah.
this could be a buy low opportunity.
Okay, explain that buy low logic a bit more.
So remember all the positive developments we talked about?
Yeah, like their new products, the expanding market.
Exactly. All of that points to a company with solid long-term potential.
Even if the near term is a little rough.
Exactly. So it's about looking past the current turbulence and focusing on the fundamentals.
Okay, I like that. It's about the fundamentals and the long-term trends.
Right.
It's not just about this one quarter.
Exactly.
Okay, that's food for thought. But before we wrap up this section, I want to have some fun.
Right.
Time for our favorite segment. This is not financial advice.
I love this segment.
All right, so given everything we know about Maravai, what's an outrageous but plausible trade idea that our listeners could, at least consider? I'm thinking something that capitalizes on the negativity, but also acknowledges their long-term potential.
Ooh, that's a good one. All right, let me think. How about this? We short Maravai stock in the short term.
Okay.
take advantage of the negative sentiment.
Okay, betting that the stock price will continue to fall.
Exactly.
But we also want to take advantage of that long-term potential.
Right. So here's the outrageous part. While we're shorting the stock, we simultaneously set a limit order to buy back those shares
Okay.
at a price that's significantly lower than the current market value.
So we're playing both sides, trying to profit from the drop and then scoop up shares at a bargain.
Exactly. It's risky.
Very risky.
But if we time it right, it could pay off big.
Okay, so high risk, high reward.
That's the name of the game.
But as always, we got to remind everyone,
Yes.
this is purely hypothetical. This is not a recommendation to actually do this.
Absolutely. Please don't trade based on our crazy ideas.
Yeah, do your own research, talk to a financial advisor.
Yes, always.
And, make informed decisions based on your own situation.
Exactly. This
Yeah.
is just for fun.
It's just for fun.
All right, now let's not forget about their other business segment, biologics, safety testing, BST. They didn't talk as much about it,
Right.
but it's still a big part of their revenue.
Yeah, and it's facing its own challenges.
Yeah.
That global biologics market slowdown
Right.
is putting pressure on that whole segment.
And we see that reflected in their revised revenue guidance, right?
Exactly. It's a tough time for that part of the business.
So even though BST has historically been a high-margin business for Maravai,
Right.
it's not immune to these broader market forces.
It's not. The biologics market is cyclical,
Right.
and it's definitely in a downturn right now.
Okay, and what's driving that downturn?
Well, a few things. Reduced healthcare spending,
Okay.
increased competition, and some uncertainty around regulations.
So it's a perfect storm of challenges.
It can feel that way sometimes.
Yeah. So they're basically facing a double whammy here. Weakness in both their NFP and BST segments.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. So what's their plan? How are they going to navigate these turbulent waters?
Well, on the BST side, they're focusing on innovation,
Okay.
new product development, trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Right.
They recently launched a new line of DNA quantification products
Oh, interesting.
in collaboration with their TriLink team.
Okay.
And these products, they help biopharma manufacturers ensure drug safety and stability.
So they're addressing a critical need,
Exactly.
even during this downturn.
Yeah, they're finding opportunities within the challenges.
Okay, and besides product development, are they doing anything else?
They're collaborating with academic institutions,
Okay.
developing new testing methods and technologies.
So even though this BST segment is facing these headwinds, they're not just sitting back and waiting.
Definitely not.
They're taking action,
They are.
trying to strengthen their position
Right.
and prepare for future growth,
Yeah. They're showing resilience and adaptability.
which are, those are crucial qualities in biotech.
Right. Absolutely. It's a fast-paced and ever-changing industry.
All right, that's it for part 1 of our deep dives into Maravai Life Sciences.
Time flies when you're analyzing earnings calls.
I know, right? We've covered a lot of ground, from their Q3 performance to their growth strategy.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah, a lot to unpack.
For sure.
And, of course, we had some fun with those speculative trade ideas.
Always a good time.
Yeah, but remember, folks,
Yes.
this is not financial advice. Do your own research, talk to your financial advisor,
Absolutely.
and make informed decisions.
Wise words.
Now, in part 2, we'll continue this exploration. We're going to delve deeper into their acquisition of Efficiency Bio, that innovation pipeline,
Oh, yeah.
and their long-term outlook.
Looking forward to it.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into Maravai Life Sciences.
All right, let's pick up where we left off. We're
Mhm.
talking about how Maravai is facing some headwinds, particularly in their biologics safety testing segment.
Right, the BST segment.
Mhm.
It focuses on ensuring the safety and quality of, biologic drugs. It's facing challenges due to a slowdown in the global biologics market.
But they're not just standing still. They're addressing these challenges through innovation and strategic partnerships.
Exactly. They recently launched a new line of DNA quantification products
Oh, interesting.
in collaboration with their TriLink team. These products are essential tools for biopharma manufacturers, helping them ensure the safety and stability of their drug products.
So even in a down market, Maravai is finding ways to meet the evolving needs of their clients.
Yeah, they are. And they're not just focusing on product development either. They're also collaborating with academic institutions to develop new testing methods and technologies. This forward-thinking approach helps them stay ahead of the curve and prepare for, future growth in the biologics market.
It's impressive to see them taking such a proactive stance. It shows they're not just reacting to market fluctuations, but actively shaping their own destiny.
That's a great point. Their resilience and adaptability are key strengths in this ever-changing biotech landscape.
Now let's shift gears a bit
Yeah.
and dive deeper into Maravai's acquisition of Ficina Bio. This seems like a game changer for their mRNA and gene editing ambitions.
It is. Efficient Bio brings a unique set of capabilities to the table, particularly their AI-driven digital platform. This platform is like a super smart lab assistant.
Hmm.
It uses artificial intelligence to automate and streamline complex processes in DNA and RNA synthesis.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. Can you break it down for us non-scientists? Like how does this AI platform actually work?
Okay, so imagine you're building a house. Traditionally, you'd need, architects, engineers, and construction workers, each with their own, specialized skills. Efficient Bio's platform is like having a team of virtual experts, powered by AI, that can handle all those intricate steps involved in designing and building biological constructs. These constructs are like the building blocks for new therapies, and the AI platform helps to create them with incredible precision and efficiency.
So it's like having a team of digital architects and engineers working around the clock to design and build these tiny, tiny biological machines.
Exactly. And that's a game changer for Maravai. It allows them to accelerate the research and development process, potentially bringing new therapies to market faster.
That's incredible. It sounds like this acquisition could give Maravai a significant edge in the race to develop new mRNA and gene editing therapies.
It certainly could. And that's why this acquisition has generated so much buzz in the biotech world. It's a strategic move that aligns perfectly with Maravai's vision of becoming a one-stop shop for mRNA and gene editing solutions.
So they're not just providing the raw materials for these therapies, they're also offering the tools and expertise to design, build, and test them.
Right. They're creating this comprehensive ecosystem that supports the entire development process from early stage discovery to large scale manufacturing.
It's like they're building the infrastructure for a whole new era of medicine,
Yeah,
powered by mRNA and gene editing.
they are. And that's a really exciting prospect. Of course, there are still challenges ahead, but this acquisition positions Maravai to be a major player in this rapidly evolving field.
Speaking of challenges, let's talk about Maravai's innovation pipeline. What are some of the key areas they're focusing on?
Well, they're investing heavily in research and development. Across both their NAP and BST segments. In NAP, they're continuing to refine their mRNA production capabilities, focusing on improving the safety, efficacy, and scalability of their technologies. For example, they're working on, new methods to reduce the immunogenicity of mRNA therapies, making them even safer and more effective.
So it's not just about producing more mRNA, it's about making it better,
Yeah,
safer, more readily available for a wider range of applications.
exactly. They're also exploring new ways to deliver mRNA therapies, beyond the traditional lipid nanoparticles used in the COVID-19 vaccines. This could open up new possibilities for treating diseases that have been difficult to target with existing methods.
What about the BST segment? What kind of innovations are they pursuing there?
In BST, they're focusing on developing more sophisticated and efficient testing methods for biologic drugs. They're using cutting edge technologies like next generation sequencing and advanced analytics to improve the accuracy, speed, and cost effectiveness of their testing services.
So they're essentially bringing the power of big data and advanced analytics to the world of drug safety testing.
They are, and that's a major step forward. It allows them to provide their clients with more comprehensive and insightful data, helping them bring safer and more effective drugs to market faster.
It sounds like Maravai is firing on all cylinders when it comes to innovation.
Yep.
They're investing in research and development, forming strategic partnerships, and acquiring cutting-edge technologies.
They are. And that's what makes them such a compelling company to watch. They're not just riding the wave of innovation, they're actively shaping it. But of course, innovation is just one piece of the puzzle. They also need to execute their strategy effectively and navigate the inherent risks and uncertainties of the biotech industry.
Right. It's a high-stakes game, but the potential rewards are enormous.
Mm.
So let's talk about Maravai's long-term outlook. What kind of future do they see for themselves in this rapidly evolving landscape?
Well, Maravai's management team has expressed a lot of optimism about the long-term prospects of the mRNA and gene editing markets. They believe these technologies have the potential to revolutionize medicine, and they're positioning themselves to be a key player in this transformation.
But as we discussed earlier, there are also challenges and uncertainties ahead. The market is volatile, competition is fierce, and the regulatory landscape is constantly evolving.
That's true, but Maravai has, a few key strengths that could help them navigate these challenges. First, they have a strong financial position with a healthy balance sheet and manageable debt. This gives them the flexibility to invest in research and development, pursue strategic acquisitions, and weather short-term market fluctuations.
So they have the financial resources to play the long game.
They do. Second, they have a proven track record of innovation. They've consistently developed new products and technologies, demonstrating their ability to stay ahead of the curve in this rapidly evolving industry.
So they're not just followers, they're innovators and leaders.
Right. And third, they have a deep understanding of the mRNA and gene editing markets. They've been working in these fields for years, building relationships, expertise, and a strong reputation.
So they're not just, newcomers trying to jump on the bandwagon. They're seasoned players with a deep bench of experience and knowledge.
Exactly. And that gives them a significant advantage in this complex and competitive landscape.
Okay, I'm starting to see why Mara's management team is so optimistic. They have the financial strength, the innovative spirit, and the market expertise to succeed in this exciting but challenging field. But what about those challenges? What are some of the key risks and uncertainties that investors should be aware of?
Well, one key risk is the inherent volatility of the biotech industry. Biotech stocks are known for their wild swings, and Maravai is no exception. Their stock price has already experienced a significant drop, and it could continue to fluctuate in the short term.
So investors need to have a strong stomach and a long-term perspective.
They do. Another risk is competition. The mRNA and gene editing fields are attracting a lot of attention and investment, and Maravai is facing competition from both established players and ambitious startups.
So they need to stay on their toes and keep innovating to maintain their competitive edge.
Absolutely. And another risk is execution risk. Maravai is pursuing an ambitious growth strategy, involving significant investments, acquisitions, and partnerships. There's always a chance that these initiatives won't pan out as expected, leading to delays, cost overruns, or even outright failures.
So investors need to assess whether Maravai's management team has the experience, the discipline, and the track record to execute their plans effectively.
Exactly. And finally, there's always the inherent risk of investing in biotech. It's a volatile and unpredictable industry, subject to scientific breakthroughs, regulatory hurdles, and unexpected setbacks. Investors need to be comfortable with this level of risk before diving into any biotech stock, including Maravai.
So it's a high risk, high reward proposition, as with many investments in cutting edge technologies and emerging industries.
It is, but for those who are willing to embrace the volatility and the long-term perspective, Maravai could be a compelling opportunity.
Okay. We've covered the risks. Now let's flip the coin and talk about the opportunities. What are the key factors that could drive Maravai's growth and success in the coming years?
Well, the biggest opportunity is the continued growth of the mRNA and gene editing markets. These fields are still in their early stages of development, and the potential applications are vast. As these technologies mature and become more widely adopted, Maravai is well positioned to benefit.
So they're riding a powerful wave of innovation and disruption in the healthcare industry.
They are, and they're not just passive passengers. They're actively shaping this wave through their own research and development, their strategic acquisitions, and their partnerships with leading academic institutions.
Right. They're not just followers, they're innovators and leaders in their own right.
Exactly. Another opportunity is Maravai's expanding portfolio of products and services. They're moving beyond just providing raw materials and basic tools, offering a more comprehensive suite of solutions that support the entire development process from discovery to manufacturing.
So they're becoming a one-stop shop for mRNA and gene editing needs?
They are, and that's a valuable proposition for their clients who are looking for partners who can help them navigate the complexities of these emerging technologies.
Okay, so they're in the right markets, they're offering the right products and services, and they're building the right partnerships. What else is working in their favor?
Well, they also have a strong financial foundation. They're generating solid cash flow, they have a healthy balance sheet, and they have, access to capital markets if needed. This gives them the flexibility to invest in growth, weather short-term storms, and seize strategic opportunities as they arise.
So they're not just, financially sound, they're also financially agile, able to adapt to changing conditions and capitalize on emerging trends.
Exactly. And finally, they have a seasoned management team with a proven track record of success in the biotech industry. They've demonstrated their ability to, navigate complex challenges, execute ambitious plans, and create value for shareholders.
So it's a combination of the right market,
Yeah.
the right products, the right financials, and the right leadership. That's a powerful recipe for success.
It is. Of course, there are no guarantees in the world of biotech, but Maravai has a lot of things working in their favor, and their future looks bright.
Well said. Now let's shift gears one last time and return to our favorite segment. This is not financial advice.
Yeah.
We've already brainstormed a couple of trade ideas based on Maravai's current situation, but let's see if we can come up with one more, something truly outrageous but still plausible given everything we've learned about this company.
Okay, challenge accepted. Let me put on my speculative thinking cap once more. How about this? A leveraged buyout.
A leveraged buyout. Now you're talking. That's definitely an audacious move.
Yeah.
Explain to our listeners how that would work in the context of Maravai.
Okay. So a leveraged buyout or LBO is essentially a way for a private equity firm or a group of investors to take a publicly traded company private. They do this by using a combination of debt and equity financing to purchase a controlling stake in the company.
So they're essentially borrowing money to buy the company using the company's assets as collateral for the loan.
Yeah. Exactly. And in the case of Maravai, a private equity firm might see their, current stock prices as an opportunity to acquire a valuable asset at a discount. They might believe that they can, unlock value by taking the company private, streamlining operations and focusing on long-term growth without the pressures and scrutiny of the public markets.
Okay. So private equity firm, they swoop in, they buy up a controlling stake in Maravai, they take them private, and then they work behind the scenes to maximize their potential. But why would Maravai's management and board of directors agree to such a deal?
That's a key question, and the answer would depend on a number of factors, including the offer price, the structure of the deal, and the long-term vision of the private equity firm. Maravai's management might be receptive to an LBO if they believe it's in the best interests of the company and its shareholders. They might see it as an opportunity to access additional capital, gain operational flexibility, and accelerate their growth strategy without the distractions of being a public company. Or they might simply feel that the company is undervalued by the public markets, and that a private equity firm can better appreciate their long-term potential.
So it's a complex decision with a lot of moving parts, but it's certainly a plausible scenario given Maravai's current situation and the broader trends in the biotech industry. We've seen a lot of private equity activity in this space lately as firms look for opportunities to invest in innovative companies with high growth potential.
Right. And Maravai with its, unique position in the mRNA and gene editing markets could be an attractive target. Of course, an LBO is a high risk, high reward proposition. it can create tremendous value for both the private equity firm and the company's management and employees. But it can also lead to significant debt burdens, operational disruptions, and potential conflicts between the new owners and the existing management team.
So it's not a decision to be taken lightly, but it's certainly an intriguing possibility that investors should be aware of.
It is, and it highlights the dynamic and ever-evolving nature of the biotech industry where anything can happen.
Well said. And that's a wrap on part 2 of our deep dive into Maravai Life Sciences.
Mm.
We've explored their strategic acquisitions, their innovation pipeline, their long-term outlook, and their competitive landscape. We've also, brainstormed some outrageous but plausible trade ideas, all while emphasizing that this is not financial advice.
Indeed, we encourage our listeners to do their own research, consult with financial professionals, and make, informed decisions based on their own individual circumstances and risk tolerance.
In part 3, we'll wrap up our analysis by examining Maravai's valuation, assessing their risks and opportunities, and offering our final takeaways on this intriguing biotech company. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome back to Talk Tickers.
All right, so we're in the final stretch of our deep dive into Maravai Life Sciences.
We are ready to wrap things up.
I think so. We've covered a lot, but I think the big question is, after this roller coaster of an earnings call,
Yeah.
is Maravai a buy, a sell, or a hold?
The million-dollar question.
Right. I mean, that's what everyone wants to know.
And that's a tough one.
It is. And of course, we're not giving financial advice.
Right.
We just want to give you the insights, the tools
Let's framework.
to make your own informed decision.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with valuation.
Okay.
How does their current stock price
Right.
stack up against their financial performance?
Yeah, because the market's always looking ahead, right?
It is. It's trying to predict those future earnings and cash flows.
And with biotech, it gets especially tricky.
It does, yeah.
Especially in those emerging fields like mRNA and gene editing.
Right.
There's so much potential,
Huge potential.
but also a lot of uncertainty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do we even begin to value a company like Maravai? What are the things we should be looking at? Well, we can start with the traditional metrics, right?
Right, like PE ratio, price to sales,
Exactly.
price to book.
Yep. Those compare Maravai's stock price to their, earnings, sales, and assets.
Right.
We can also look at more specialized metrics like enterprise value to EBITDA,
Okay.
which takes into account their debt and cash flow.
So we crunch all those numbers, compare them to industry averages, and bam, we have a valuation.
Well, it would be nice if it were that simple.
Right.
But valuation it's not an exact science.
It's not.
It's part art, part science,
Okay.
especially in biotech.
Yeah, those numbers are just the starting point, right?
Yeah. We also have to consider those qualitative factors,
Yeah.
Things like growth prospects, competitive position.
Right, the management team.
The management team, the overall market environment, all that plays a role.
It's a holistic picture.
It is.
And also, valuation can be subjective.
It can. Different investors might see things differently.
Yeah, based on their own assumptions, their risk
Right.
tolerance. Okay, so based on your analysis, where does Maravai fall on that spectrum? Are they overvalued, undervalued?
Well, I think especially after that 35% drop, their stock seems to be trading at a discount.
Interesting.
Their price to sales ratio is below the industry average, and their enterprise value to EBITDA is also looking pretty good.
Okay, so the numbers look good.
On the surface, yeah. But we have to look at the bigger picture.
Right.
Their growth potential, their strong position in the mRNA and gene editing markets.
A recent acquisition.
Exactly. And their solid financials. When you consider all that, their current valuation seems pretty attractive.
So you're saying even with the recent setbacks
Yeah.
and that market reaction, there's still value there
I think so.
for the long-term investor.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Maravai's stock took a big hit after this earnings call.
It did.
What are the risks? What are the red flags that investors should be watching out for?
Well, the most immediate risk is, continued weakness in their core markets.
Okay.
We've talked about the biologics market slowdown
Right.
and that muted demand for R&D products. If those trends continue, that could put more pressure on Maravai's, revenue and earnings.
So investors need to keep an eye on those market trends
They do.
and also assess whether Maravai's management is doing enough to counter those trends.
Yeah, are they taking the right steps?
Right. Okay. What else?
Another risk is competition.
Right, it's getting crowded.
It is. The mRNA and gene editing fields they're attracting a lot of players.
Yeah.
Big pharma companies, startups.
So Maravai needs to stay ahead of the game.
They do. They need to keep innovating
Absolutely.
and differentiating themselves.
Yeah, they can't afford to just stand still.
Nope, they got to keep pushing forward.
Okay, what else? Any other risks we should be aware of?
Well, there's, always execution risk.
Right.
Maravai is, they're pursuing a pretty ambitious growth strategy.
They are.
Lots of investments, acquisitions, partnerships. It's possible those things won't go as planned.
Yeah, there are always hiccups along the way.
There are delays, cost overruns, even outright failures. Those are all possibilities.
So it comes down to the management team, right?
Yeah. Do they have the experience, the track record? Can they execute?
Okay, those are all good points. And then there's always that inherent risk with biotech, right?
Always?
It's a volatile industry.
It is.
You never know what's going to happen.
Scientific breakthroughs, regulatory hurdles, unexpected setbacks. It's all part of the game.
So investors really need to understand that going in.
Absolutely. Biotech is not for the faint of heart.
All right, so we've covered the risks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the opportunities now. What could drive Maravai's growth in the years to come?
Well, the biggest opportunity is the continued growth of the mRNA and gene editing markets.
Right, that's a huge tailwind.
It is. These fields are just getting started.
They are, and the potential applications are it's mind-boggling.
It's incredible. I mean, as these technologies mature and become more mainstream,
Yeah.
Maravai is in a great position to benefit.
So they're riding this wave of innovation.
They are.
But they're not just riding it, they're shaping it
Right, they're active participants.
through their R&D, their acquisition.
Our partnerships.
Yeah. They're leaders in this space.
They are.
What else is working in their favor?
Well, they're expanding portfolio of products and services.
Right. They're not just selling raw materials anymore.
Nope. They're offering a more comprehensive set of solutions
Okay.
that support the entire development process.
So they're becoming a one-stop shop for all things mRNA and gene editing.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. And that's valuable for their clients, right?
It is. It makes things easier for them.
Okay. So right markets, right products, right partnerships. Anything else?
Their financials.
Oh, yeah, they're in a good position there, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Solid cash flow, healthy balance sheet, access to capital if they need it.
So they have the resources to weather any storms and make strategic moves.
Exactly.
And of course, they have that experienced management team
Right.
with a track record of success.
That's a good combination.
It is. It is. It's the right market, the right products, the right financials, and the right leadership. I mean, that's a recipe for success.
You can't ask for much more than that.
All right. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
We've looked at Maravai from all angles.
All angles.
And it's a complex story.
Oh, it is.
Full of both promise and uncertainty.
That's biotech for you.
It is. But let's try to distill this down to some key takeaways.
Okay, I like that.
First and foremost, Maravai is a company at a turning point. I mean, they're operating in a really exciting industry.
Yeah, it's an incredible time to be in this space.
It is, and they're making bold moves
They are.
to capitalize on all of that potential.
That Officinae bio acquisition is a big statement.
It is. It shows their ambition.
And their commitment to innovation.
Exactly.
They're not just settling for, being a supplier. They
Yeah.
want to be a leader in this whole mRNA and gene editing revolution.
And that gives them a real shot at significant growth down the road.
It does,
But, there are risks.
of course.
There's volatility, competition.
And execution is key.
Yeah, they got to deliver on all those promises.
They do.
So investors need to weigh those factors carefully.
They do.
But I think it's safe to say Maravai is a company worth watching.
Definitely want to keep an eye on.
All right, and before we go,
Yeah.
we got to do our final, this is not financial advice disclaimer.
Absolutely.
We had some fun with those trade ideas.
I did.
But remember, we are not financial advisors.
That's right.
Those are just hypothetical scenarios.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
Don't make any rash decisions based on our rambling.
Exactly. The best investment decisions are the ones you make,
Yeah.
based on your own research in your own individual circumstances.
Your own risk tolerance.
Ex-
And financial goals.
So do your homework, folks. Talk to your financial advisor
Wise words.
and make informed choices.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for our deep dive into Maravai Life Sciences.
It's been a journey.
It has. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
See you then.